This article appeared in WorldNetDailey on November the 7th, 2001. If you think back, that's just a few days after the September 11 attacks. And the article says it's been several weeks since Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Talal attempted to donate $10 million to New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani for costs associated with the terror attack on the city. Giuliani rightly told the prince to take his check and stick it where the sun don't shine. Why? Because of highly inappropriate remarks the prince made while making the contribution. He suggested the terror attack was a result of America's role in attempting to resolve the Mideast conflict. Quote, "This unintended sore will fester, spread," the 8th richest man in the world said. He continued, "The reality is that until the Israeli-Palestinian situation is resolved, the world remains at risk," unquote. Nonsense, according to the article, and Giuliani recognized it as such. This was money that was coming with strings attached. The prince was trying to buy influence, goodwill, even sympathy for his cause. So the Palestinian question is the cause of Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, one of the richest men in the world, and he wants the U.S. to rethink its role in the Middle East conflict, willing to donate $10 million if only America will rethink its position on Israel. It should be noted that the Messiah has connections to several radical Palestinian terror groups. His funds didn't come from poor Negroes living in the ghetto, and his funds did not come from Hispanic immigrants. His votes came from those people, but the money came from elsewhere. Continuing with the article, but while he was told to go packing by Giuliani, and notice that Giuliani was trashed in the election, the prince has been more than successful at buying influence in the financial world, and particularly with the Western media that big business controls. For instance, the prince now owns a whopping $2 billion worth of AOL stock. AOL Time Warner, as you know, controls, among many other media enterprises, CNN, the influential global news network, supposedly. He also owns at least $50 million worth of Disney stock, the company that controls, among other media enterprises, ABC. He also controls at least 3% in News Corporation, the parent company of the New York Post, Fox News, the London Times, and many other media outlets. But note, it's only 3%. The London Times can still speak its mind, and Fox News can still speak its mind. He also has large holdings in such American corporate names as Compaq, Kodak, Xerox, Amazon, eBay, Internet Capital Group, InfoSpace, DoubleClick, Coke, Pepsi, Ford, McDonald's, Gillette, and Procter & Gamble. But it's the prince's media holdings of most interest to the writer of this article, as it is to me. Here's the guy who wants influence and has demonstrated his desire to use it. How will that influence be manifested in Western media holdings? And note, this article was written way back in 2001. The prince told the London Times he frequently takes calls to bosses of the companies in which he is invested. "I'm always in close touch with them, but I don't play an active role," the Prince Al-Walid bin Talal said. "If I feel very strongly about something, I convey a message directly to the chairman or the chief executive. Thank God he's not an investor in WorldNetDailey, nor will he ever be, as long as the company I founded remains in private hands. You see, I don't believe massacres at the World Trade Center and Pentagon can ever be rationalized as the prince attempted to do, and particularly no member of the Saudi royal family has any moral authority to do so. If he wants to use his influence to do some good in the world, let the prince begin in his own homeland, which, by the way, is not without some responsibility and culpability for having spawned the brand of Islamist terrorism that struck the United States on September 11. It bred Osama bin Laden. It incubated him. It supported him for years. Now it is in full cover-up mode. When the FBI sought to interview members of the bin Laden family in the United States, Saudi officials immediately flew 24 members of the family home in a deliberate effort to subvert the inquiry. The Saudis covered up bin Laden's role in the bombing of the Khobar Towers, the U.S. air base in that country. The Saudis have refused to cooperate fully in the investigation of the hijackers themselves, at least 10 of whom were Saudi citizens. The Saudis are the principal sponsors of the brainwashing camps they call Islamic schools in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the indoctrination centers that produced new bin Ladens and new leaders for the Taliban. Saudi Arabia, far from being the moderate state most Americans have believed, is a brutal totalitarian police state, one that persecutes Christians and recognizes no rights to free speech, free press, and freedom of religion. There's not a single church in all of Saudi Arabia, and Christians have been jailed and executed for worshiping in the privacy of their own homes. For those like me who applaud Giuliani's decision to give the money back, it's time to ask yourself just how the good prince is using his influence in the U.S. financial world, and particularly in the U.S. media. This article was written by Joseph Farah, F-A-R-A-H. He is editor and chief executive officer of WorldNetDailey.com and writes a daily column. He is the author of the book entitled This Land is Our Land, published by St. Martin's Press.